Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Tako Talk. My name is Stephen Tako, author of Motivated to Act and creator of Junga, the Dancing Yeti. Anyway, I've got a young celebrity here, Matthew. Now Matthew is, he and his dad and I actually became friends a while ago, and his dad would say, you know, Stephen, I like what you're doing with the whole Tako Talk and the Junga and all that stuff. He goes, you know, my son has an experience of being bullied. And I said, really? Really, Russ? How could any son of yours experience being bullied? And he goes, I know. But anyway, here you are, living proof.
Yeah.
There, I'm bullying you. Yeah, but anyway, Matthew, thanks so much for being on the show. This kid's kind of interesting because before we get into the bullying part, share with our audience a little bit about who you are, and because he's been on a couple shows, so you know some people know who you are, but share with us a little bit about your work.
So I've been acting for about 6 years now, and I started just doing the grind, doing short films, student films, background roles in TV shows, and then first real big role I kind of got was iCarly on the 100th episode of iCarly. It's like the 6th episode of season 5. I have an actual speaking part in that, so it was exciting. I actually got something that talks and you see me for more than 10 seconds. So it was really exciting to me, and then I went on to do another Nickelodeon show called Bucket and Skinner's Epic Adventures, which unfortunately after showing like 3 episodes was canceled. But they brought it back over the summer, and they showed the rest of the episodes, so I got to be shown on that.
Nice. And what was that one called again?
Bucket and Skinner's Epic Adventures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I've done the show on Fox, I think it's... Yeah, Fox. New Girl. I did the New Normal ones. I do the voice of Little Nut Brown Hair on a Disney Junior cartoon called Guess How Much I Love You, which we did for 8 months and 52 episodes, and
nice.
Really fun time doing that, and just great people to be working with, and it was just real fun.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So a lot, and you got an IMDb page?
I do indeed.
So yeah, so you guys can check them out on IMDb. We'll put the screen on the screen so you guys can go ahead and follow any of the websites and everything else that he's been on. So okay, so now so that's great. So you know a lot of people that have bullying experience are so shy and reclusive, and they have a low self-esteem, and yet here you are. You're out there. You're doing all these fun things. How is it that you even got into business?
Well, the story that my dad and my mom and they just always tell is, when I was little, people would always be approaching them with oh, if you pay us like $500, we'll get your son to print ads and he'll be a big star. And they would never really fall for that. So when one of my dad's friends from work, his girlfriend had a friend who was working at an acting school. It's like a recruiter, and so she referred me to her, and through that I got an audition for an acting school, where the same acting school that Dylan and Cole Sprouse went to, and Elijah Wood, and people who are now big stars, and I got accepted into it, and I did the thing there, and every 6 months they have the kids either write their own skit or their own commercial, and they perform it for the director of the school and some of the teachers, and if they like it enough, then they'll put you in front of a bunch of agents and managers in the business.
Right.
So I got to do that, and after that my dad's phone was ring, hello, okay, we'll set up a meeting here, and then you'd put the phone down, then another person would call. So over the next 2 weeks we went to like 15 meetings with agents and managers, and we finally picked a manager, we got an agent, and I just started going out to things and starting to get roles.
Matthew, tell our audience a little bit about the movie Camp.
Right, so Camp was a movie I did a couple of years ago about, it was all about real things that actually happened at camps called Royal Family Kids Camps. And what the camp does is they take in foster kids that are either abused or neglected by their parents, and they take them to like a summer camp. They do archery, rock climbing, like normal stuff that you get to do at a summer camp, which they never get to do because their parents either just aren't there or don't care to do anything. So I played a character named Redford, who his mom dead, and his dad was a drug dealer, so he didn't even know his dad. So he put up like walls around himself that he was an alien and tried to just block everything out and go to his own little world. And so the movie is centered around this other kid named Eli who has a dad who is abusive and a mom who recently died of an overdose. And how he starts as a kid who, like a lot of kids who get bullied, are just completely shy about it and don't talk about it at all. And then by the end of the week at camp, turns into a kid who is speaking out about it and is trying to get help from others. And the movie's on Netflix now, and people are seeming to love it, as it has like a 4-star rating or something. And it's a really heartwarming movie, and almost everyone who's seen it has started crying after watching it. So bring tissues.
Nice. Thanks for letting us know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So with all that you've got, in your acting and all this celebrity status, how is, I like how he smiles when I say celebrity. So how is it that you were ever bullied? What's your experience there?
The elementary school that I went to was K through 6, so of course all the 6th graders would act like, oh, I'm a big person, I can boss you around and whatnot. So me being a 2nd grader, the 6th graders would always be just like that. They'd be bossing you around, they'd be like pushing you around, they'd steal stuff from you all the time, and it just...
Darn 6th graders.
Yeah, and all that just, to me, back then I couldn't really take things very well. Like, just like, even like a bug dying would bother me. So,
wow.
Just all that would just build up inside for just a little while. I could maybe hold on to it with being completely fine. Then it just get to me and it hit me like a ton of bricks all at once. And it was bad. Like, I would cry myself to sleep sometimes.
Wow.
So I told my dad, and then they went to the principal of the school. I showed them the girls who were doing it, and then that stopped. And then in 5th grade, whenever it's recess time, everyone's like, yeah, let's go down to the playground and start playing. So I'm running down, there's a hill between the uphill part and downhill part of my school, the downhill being where the playground is. So all the kids start running down the hill towards the playground, and I'm running down the hill, and then a kid comes up behind me, and he pushes me, and I'm going down from like halfway up the hill, down to the very bottom of the hill, down where by like the basketball courts are, which is a good 10 feet, and I go through that, and then I hit the ground on this hand, and just break it, and bones move around and stuff, and I didn't even want to get up after that. And so I went to the hospital. I was stuck in a cast for 6 months. When I finally got back to school, there was only like 6 weeks left in school, and in those 6 weeks I couldn't go outside, I couldn't play with my friends or anything. It was the test time, so I had to go to the school, like, kind of quote-unquote in secret, and be doing a test in the library, and then I would leave and I'd have all my homework to do and everything. And it wasn't fun because I wasn't getting to talk to any of my friends. I wasn't getting to actually be at school, which to kids should be like an important part of their life, but for that small period it just wasn't. So it was it like gnawed away at me.
Right. Now, Matthew, you had mentioned something very interesting, and that is you said that these kids, older kids, were picking on you, bullying you, and you said you were kind of not letting it bother you very much. You were just kind of like going through and letting it, but then But then you said it was escalating, and eventually it got to a point where you couldn't handle it anymore. And you said even a bug dying was like overwhelming to you. So you're kind of a sensitive person.
Yeah.
And so I think that you know, a lot of people out there, you know, sensitive or not, you know, we start getting bullied and we internalize it and we think that it's not affecting us. And what happens is it's like a volcano, and eventually, you know, it adds and it adds and adds, and we can pretend that it's not hurting us, and we can pretend that, oh, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but oftentimes we're not really addressing it, you know, and we start believing some of the things that people are saying. One thing leads to another, and that's how we have people out in the world that are exploding and doing bad things. You know, they're not processing things through, and you know, so how would you say that you have been able to manage it? Because I want to give some advice to people that are out there who are getting bullied, who are feeling bad. How is it that you were able to manage that type of stress to a point where now, at what age are you?
I'm 12 now.
12. So now at 12 years old, how is it that you're not exploding like a volcano or bursting into tears eventually? How do you process it?
Well, my parents they're always there for me. So it's like I had a shoulder to cry on. So whenever something bad would happen and it start to get to me, I'd just go to them and they'd comfort me and make everything fine. Then they'd go and they'd tell the principal or whatever of the school and they'd get it all sorted out so it would stop. And that's how I dealt with it.
Yeah, so having your parents go ahead and kind of be your allies to go into the school,
yeah,
and kind of end it. So so once that happened, once your parents went into the school, then the kids just kind of left you alone.
Yeah, pretty much after that, whatever was happening would just be like, okay, we're done.
Wow, that's cool. That's impressive.
Yeah.
You know, because I think a lot of parents don't take that step, and you know, and parents who are watching this out there as well. You know, you got to listen to your kids. You know, you've got a great relationship with your parents, obviously, and you feel comfortable enough being able to talk to them. And yet there are parents out there that just kind of shoo their kids away and say, oh, you know what, that's normal, that's kid stuff or whatever, not realizing that things are adding on to each other and that kid is going to possibly explode someday. So awesome. So I want to, we just got to wrap up a little bit. First of all, I want to say, you know, thanks again for being on the show and for sharing your experience. It's not every 12-year-old that is willing to go on the world's YouTube and open up and mention, you know, talk about this. I mean, there's many people, it's so personal and it's hurtful, and yet here you're somebody that's in the limelight that, you know, you're used to people knowing more about you, but to reveal this on our show is awesome. So thanks again, but I want to leave it with, if you can give our audience, let's say there's a kid out there somewhere where you've got problems that you're dealing with, and maybe you don't have your parents to talk to. Maybe you're suffering a little bit at school, and you're just not really sure what to do. Here we've got Matthew that has been there as far as the bullying part. You're fortunate you got your parents, but what kind of advice can you give to somebody out there that is just really struggling right now?
Well, I'd tell them to do something that I failed to do, which was before it really got out of hand and it really started getting really bad, to tell someone before it starts getting bad. To tell a teacher, the principal at your school, tell one of your parents. Just try to tell an adult and try to get it to stop before it gets really bad. So,
awesome. Great advice. You know, just keeping communication open can do wonders. So, hey, thanks again for coming in. I really appreciate it. You guys, we'll have all the links on here so that you guys can go ahead and check him out. And thanks so much for tuning in to Tako Talk, and you guys have a fantastic day.